Hello and welcome to the Propelling Business Excellence podcast. Today I have the honor to have Larry Wert from Jackson Partners LLC. So he's the CEO of that, and the founder is Bo Jackson, who is a famous baseball and football player. So thank you very much, Larry Wert, for joining us. Really appreciate your time. I know it's Friday morning. So why don't you kick us off with a brief introduction on and background on what you do and who you are?
Thank you, Barbara. Good to see you. Good morning or good evening, depending on where you're viewing from. To summarize me, I enjoyed a 40 plus year career in advertising, marketing, and broadcasting. I was mostly in television and radio, local television and radio here in the US. And I worked for all the networks at some point. My longest tenure was with NBC television, a decade with ABC. And after a 10-year stint in radio, I came back to television and I finished my career with Tribune Media based in Chicago, a company that had multiple media assets, including newspaper. And we sold that company 4 years ago to a company called Nexstar, which is in Dallas. At that time, I decided to unlock my entrepreneurial spirit. And I've gotten involved with several other businesses. And to name a few, healthcare, spirits. Yeah, I'm involved with the world's fastest growing, most awarded whiskey named Uncle Nearest, launched just 7 years ago. And I'm also running, as we started the conversation, Jackson and Partners, partnered with the great Bo Jackson, who was a wonderful guy, super friend and partner. And we have some food and beverage products in our company there. So a few other things doing, making a documentary, part of my career based out of here in Chicago. And I'm also in some franchise wellness spa centers focused on, just health rejuvenation. So I'll stop there and allow you to ask any questions and ask you to drill down anywhere you would like.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is a very good, amazing profile. I mean, after working for NBC, I know it's very popular here, so really appreciate you coming here. I'm curious to know as to, you are into so many entrepreneurial aspect of things now. So what basically inspired you going from, a corporate job, right, to an entrepreneurial journey? What was the initial spark that led to that?
I think, especially in the career path I was in, the media landscape has changed so dramatically due to technology behavior that there was a lot of, in the last part of my career, pivot, adjustment, recovery on cost models. And so I wanted to get to where I could launch new businesses and grow new businesses versus where I was in terms of modifying and changing and surviving businesses. Well, not many companies have ever been on the New York Stock Exchange for more than 100 years. So everything has some sort of a beginning and an end, right? So
Yeah.
I became more interested in birthing businesses and problem solving as well, and to do so under a business model that I was in control of versus working for a company and a board of directors, et cetera. And I, think the number one driving quality that I guess led me there is being curious, learning what is possible. And when you learn I was very clearly in a media career, and with all of that, I was exposed to many other clients over the years. And so this allowed me to kind of pick and choose some sectors that might interest me, and then maybe get involved if I thought I could bring value to them.
I mean, there are a lot of things that you're doing. I'm just wondering about how are you managing all this, right? It's only 24 hours in the day.
That's the difficult discipline, right? It's a juggling act to some extent, and there's always a time management challenge. And so I wish I could tell you I had it down perfectly like a fine-tuned machine, but I do not. It's a lot of launch and learn every day. And so, at some point you set goals, and then along the way you readjust them. So I don't have a big staff anymore. I don't have any staff anymore. I have some small micro teams depending on my companies, but I'm kind of doing air traffic control by myself.
Yeah. And like how many, did you mention like 6 or 7 companies that you have ongoing right now?
I think that's right. And there are some others that I'm invested in that I will, as an investor, participate with from time to time.
And are you like the owner of all those 6, 7 companies?
I'm I would say I'm on a cap table in most of them. So
Okay.
I'm a owner, depending, on the company, I more or less.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how you do it. I am only doing one. That itself is not so easy. So,
Well, at this stage of my career, it's more driven out of, like I said earlier, curiosity, interest, wanting to learn, versus being a expert in one space and doing the repetition of that job. I'm enjoying the freedom, maybe a little overwhelmed with the thing.
yeah, I can imagine that. So, I guess what are some misconceptions about running a business? Because you have been running it for quite some time now and you have quite a lot of initiatives going. Could you give us some insights on that?
Sure. I mean, well, look, like people, probably no two are the exact same and have different, variables and challenges set aside. But I would say that if I'm kind of an organic, hands-on leader and manager, both different qualities, leader, manager, but both. And so I don't think of things as turnkey. I think, of things as what is the problem, what is the opportunity, and then how do you, take that to, based on a strategy and an execution, to a different place. How do you grow towards a goal, which in most business cases is profitability with some sort of a goal in mind. Either, a liquidity event is generally what is hoped for, or a sustainable business model, or both. So, we're in business to achieve, various things, but up higher in that food chain is profitability. Find a way to create value. So that's why learning about different sectors and how to do that is what my recent, in the last 5 years, interest is around. And what do you think is then misconception about running a business? Like if someone were to start a business, what misconception they should avoid? Well, in the beginning of starting, there's, I would say, again, no two are the same, but the challenges are extremely difficult when you're setting your vision together, right? So you have to have a vision, and then you have to have an execution plan, and then you have to measure along the way. Nothing happens without measurement. So again, they all vary, and some are more challenging than others. And generally funding is an important part of it. So, and to get funding, you have to have a vision and a plan that becomes credible. Yeah. So, I mean, look, that's probably in the long run, the biggest issue for people. I mean, you have to have a credible track record. Yeah. Without that, it's all a leap of faith, and funding becomes more difficult. With a credible track record and your ability to communicate a vision, you might be able to get funding on certain terms and conditions. But then you're given an opportunity to execute for some window of time. I see. Then you have to show business vision progress, and not all goes smoothly. So that, what's the biggest misconception? That generally you can visualize a plan and a strategy, but generally you're going to have to run into something called, I call it confusing tolerance, because it's not going to go smoothly. Going to be unanticipated headwinds. Challenges, yes. You have to figure out how to efficiently deal with those. Do I go through those headwinds? Do I go around those headwinds? Do I retreat and start over? Do I say this is not going to work and give up? And as an entrepreneur, you can't give up too easy, but you have to know when. You have to know when it's, you're going to climb a mountain you cannot climb. Yeah, so that's very interesting. I think you mentioned about the mission, vision, values. So a lot of companies, when they start, they're not thinking about that. They're just getting into their products or services. They're trying to either get into a huge amount of marketing and sales without thinking about the mission, vision, values.
And
Yeah,
thank
some
you for
people
bringing
fall,
that up.
I've seen some people fall in love with their idea
Yeah.
more than they can plan and execute a path to achieve it.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then, so look, that's passion and that's okay if you can fight through the necessary challenges to get to your finish line. But, one of the things I say is do not dare be narcissistic. And if you're an entrepreneur, own it, right? Do not, do not set a vision and then cast blame on why it's not being achieved. You have to own it.
Yes.
You have to deal with the objective realities of what is. I mean, finding solutions and, like I said, ways through, around, underneath, over to get to, a goal or a finish line is important. But you can't be in denial of the realities along the way. Otherwise, people just lose money and time. And those are the two assets, right? Time and money.
Yes. So, what is your advice, Larry, on like, sometimes people run into challenges, and I'm also asked this question quite a lot of times too, that how do I know that I should not be climbing this mountain anymore and I need to pivot, or do I need to continuously persist
Yeah.
to continue to climb the mountain? So, what's your advice on that? When should they pivot? When should they not?
I think it's a process, right, to help make those decisions and at certain timings. And I believe in networking. I believe that there's some level of expertise available on most all matters. And what you do, you have to canvas that expertise, often through networking. And then you have to, at some point make a judgment call. But so try and do it all yourself and in a vacuum is probably dangerous. So that's why for a young entrepreneur, they might not have the same resource Rolodex as someone who's been in business for a while. So they have to figure out how to network with people who can be helpful.
Mhm.
And often I recommend that a business should have an advisory team, that would have some kind of skin in the game, maybe some equity in the company, whatever the company can afford to do. Maybe it's just relationship equity, but having some expertise as advisory is always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. What about having a business coach? I'm a business coach, so I'm curious to know what's your take on that too.
I'm sorry, a business.
Business coach.
Oh, coach, like I said, that's part of, information gathering and consultation. So, any of that, you just have to decide one of your resources is time, and you have to decide how that's best spent
Yeah.
for speeding the process to achieve your goals.
Yeah, I know that when I work with my business coach also, it helps me quite a lot. And working with my own clients as well, we talk through issues and season points every week to make sure we are progressing and accelerating the business success. So it's always insightful to have someone else. And what
That's a
about?
nice luxury or benefit to have that type of support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in our company, everybody has a business coach, including the CEO. And our company is also a business coaching company, so we practice what we preach. So having said that, I don't know if that's the right question for you. Whether how do you maintain your work-life balance? Given you have so many initiatives going on, do you have any work-life balance, and how do you maintain those personal rituals to make sure that you have some mental peace and physical health going on?
That's always a difficult challenge, and some people have more discipline around it than others, and it always depends on what phase of your life you're in. If you're starting a family versus your family is starting their own family, you may have more or less time to allocate. I do believe in physically and mentally taking care of yourself along the way that as an important part of it, and so you don't burn things out and you stay fresh. So everyone's work-life balance is a bit different, but it's an important discipline to have and to achieve. I don't have a one-size-fits-all answer for you, but I do underscore that it's very important.
And do you have any work-life balance?
I'm not the best at that.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, I find time, and I've always been able to. Yeah, I like to get a lot out of each day, so it's challenging, but I find a way.
Okay. Yeah, because most of the entrepreneurs I talked to and interviewed, all of them said that I do not have a 9 to 5 job and I cannot. They have work-life integration, but not a balance.
I think that's probably right. You don't, now since I'm managing these businesses and doing a lot of these for myself and for others, I do take more thought to bed than I used to when I had more of a routine job, if you will.
Mhm. And I know you have multiple initiatives going on, but what does your future look like for 1 to 3 years? Can you give us a glimpse?
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
one of the companies. How do you envision your next chapter of this entrepreneurial journey?
at least two or three of these companies, I can see an exit happening in the next, couple of years. Timing's not in stone, but an exit is always an achievement moment.
Mhm.
Not all exits are, but I'm optimistic about a few that I have in my sights. So will I start others after that? I don't know. I believe I've seen people retire and just one day shut it all off, and I've seen that not go well. So, yeah, use it or lose it. And that's your brain, your body. And so I'll stay active. I just don't know if I'll stay this active.
Yeah, that's a lot. So
I,
another
I,
question.
I can consult without,
Yeah.
owning the businesses, and
Mhm.
I can partner and I can just, do what I do to bring value to other, organizations, businesses, and on a, a la carte basis if necessary.
And what about your Jackson and Partners LLC?
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what are the plans for that?
We're focused on a few product lines. We're focused on, we have a great hamburger line called Bow Burgers, and we have a few different structures, and we're just starting to get into retail. We also have some plant-based food products that are in distribution, but they're mostly white label. And then the most exciting thing is we've developed a hydration product for consumers that is easy to use and take on the road. It's called Bow 3.0. It's a very explosive category because 75% of Americans are dehydrated. There's some level of dehydration around the world, and for various reasons. And some people just don't like to consume water consistently. And water in itself is not fully hydrated because of the permeability of water. Not all water is the same. So you need some electrolytes in your body. You need them to come in a balanced way. And we were able to find some other benefits of ingredients, plant-based ingredients to add to our product. One's called Capros, which is an ingredient plant-based that has some efficacy to increase blood flow and support cardio. And one's called IUFlex, another plant-based ingredient that can help joint support, lubrication, etc. So if you put those two with hydration, we came up with Bow 3.0. Bow's big support of our product. And you can get it on Amazon, Bow 3.0, or our website is bo3p0.com, bo3p0.com. And we're only direct to consumer right now. I'm speaking to some brick and mortars, some retailers, but so far you can only get it online. We're getting great feedback and easy to use, tastes great, keeps your body vitalized, for just, you don't have to be the greatest athlete in the world like Bo Jackson, but you can just be an active lifestyle, and this product will be well received by them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so basically the plan is to grow this 3 or I guess not both 3.0, but Jackson and Partners company for next
Yes.
1 to 3 years.
Yeah, if we can, continue to grow our food lines, and then if we can continue to grow, we're starting to double in Bow 3.0. It's all about awareness and marketing at this point and execution on that product. So yeah, the goal is to continue to grow the scale and reach of the company. And, we'll adjust along the way depending on our success level.
Yeah. And how did you meet Bo Jackson? I guess you were the CEO of his company. How did you
Yeah.
meet him?
I met him at some charity golf events and some other relationships. And along the way, our daughters went to the same high school in Chicago.
Oh.
And then, he asked me to join as an advisor some years ago. And now I'm taking out a more hands-on role.
That's amazing. So your daughter and Bo Jackson went to the same school?
Yes. So, but he's a great human. Really supports the military, supports just people in need. He's somewhat private based on his celebrity over the years. He's very family oriented. He loves to hunt and fish, and he loves to cook. He loves food. That's why we have this company. And he's, like I said, I'm fortunate to be his partner in this initiative.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thank you so much. And like in terms of like obstacles for your current objectives, let's say for both 3.0, I know you're going fast. What obstacle do you anticipate encountering for growing the Jackson and
Yeah,
Partners company?
it's just about managing the economic model while we grow. You don't you want to try and find that spot where you're in the black and not the red when you're launching a business and evolving it, but you also want to grow at scale. And sometimes you have to take an economic step backward before you can go forward. And then you have to, Amazon didn't make money for a lot of years, right? But they have a vision. So I mean, that's the biggest proportion, but most businesses, that's the case. You can either start out profitably or you can have a goal to get there. So, we're working on that. We've made a lot of progress, and now I think we're focused on a few product lines and having a pretty good year.
Okay, that's great. And in terms of adaptability and change and innovation, there's a lot of technology changes happening, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay adaptable?
Yeah, you just keep experts in your life, and
Yeah.
you keep your awareness high. You're always watching and reading and utilizing. And we're all consumers, so we all have a viewpoint just from our own, consumer level. So again, technology is forever ongoing. Some waves are more intense than others, and then there's consumer adoption and the influence. And generally, that all happens pretty quick, right? So staying on top of it, staying with the wave, is a challenge.
Yeah. So do you see that affecting your business in any ways or any of those initiatives that you mentioned?
I think you've seen a trend over the years, and it will continue of self-serve, right? People are managing their own lives and consumption of everything.
Yeah.
And they can do it, in a pretty simple form now because everybody's online, and they understand, the ability to meet their needs, and they're all different by every individual. But people are shaping their own, call it, consumption, if you will. Okay. In my case, in media consumption, 30, 40 years ago when I started, people had to make an appointment with media to absorb what they wanted. Now they can program to themselves, right? In so many ways, and 24/7. So it's true about everything, our basic needs, food, healthcare, entertainment. You pretty much can make your own menu. And so it's just going, audiences and consumption is going to continue to fragment because individuals will continue to have more individual choice on how they spend their day, how they live their lives, and technology does drive it.
And I think the last question here is that what advice would you offer to the aspiring entrepreneurs or those who are facing challenges in their business?
If you're going to be an entrepreneur, be prepared to work full time, or work for somebody else. I mean, as an entrepreneur, like we said earlier in this conversation, I use the term, I doze but never close. Yeah. And it kind of just simply sums it up. You're always on, because if you're falling behind in your initiative if you're not. So, fight through the tough times, stay, you got a dream, but then you have to stay objective and achieve benchmark goals and measure what you're doing, because if you don't measure it, it probably didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever gets measured gets done. It wasn't easy. That's a great advice. And thank you so much for your time today, Larry, here. It was great meeting you and learning about your entrepreneurial journey and a lot of things and a lot of initiatives you have going on. So really great to know you and learn a lot more about Bo Jackson as well. And everyone watching here, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you very much, Larry.
My pleasure. Nice to be with you. Thank you.